Hello folks and welcome to another Premodern video. Today we're gonna be playing an interesting concoction that I put together. This is an ode to black decks and a different approach to doing so. This one comes sponsored by Phil Lorraine, so thank you Phil for doing this. Let's take a look at what I put together. So the main task Phil gave me was to build around Chain of Smog in a mono black shell, and that's what I did. So this is not something necessarily new. A lot of people have done this before. I decided that the best thing to do was obviously to Chain of Smog alongside the rack. Every pit rack list that I have seen is built around trying to play a 3-drop on turn 1, and my idea was to actually build a curve-based mono black deck. So what this does is it allows us to build a deck that, goes 1, 2, 3, hitting its land drop. So we have 24 lands, 16 basics. I actually have 2 snow cover swamps because I only had 14 basic swamps on this art. 4 factories and 4 wastelands. That is our mana base. Super clean, super consistent. We're going to be able to cast Hypnotic Spectre very reliably, and we will be able to, more importantly, double spell very often, which is something that this deck is trying to do. And then the idea is trying to make sure that black's weaknesses going into the long game are not as pronounced. So we actually have cards like a Phyrexian Furnace, so if we get paired against any sort of survival deck, we can stop that engine on its tracks, which is something that mono black decks will struggle with. We also have copies of Skeletal Scrying, and we are getting rid of cards like Bottomless Pit in favor of something like Ravenous Rats. Rats fits much better in the curve, and if we are not playing 3-drops on turn 1, then there's no need to have 8 3-drops in our deck that make our draws a little bit more clunky. So we are going, slowly up the curve as the game progresses, and I feel like double spelling is going to be very, very important. The big questions are, of course, the burn matchup, which I decided to simply ignore. I don't think that matchup is solvable in any way, shape, or form, so I will simply ignore it, and I will devote basically no slots to trying to beat it, because I think that it's a lost battle. But on the other hand, I wanted to make sure that I had enough tools to beat stuff like the Shrimp deck, so we have, Duresses, Chain of Smogs, Edicts, and Smother, and even in the sideboard, I wanted to have access to Snuff Out, and, cards like Spinning Darkness obviously is against decks like Goblins and stuff like that. So I feel like we have a pretty wide range of tools, and the idea is that the vast majority of scenarios, whenever we cast a Chain of Smog, it's just going to be very, very bad for our opponent to send it back. So it's either going to be the last card we cast or close to it, because we're not going to have that many 3-drops clogged in our hands. And our opponent, if they want to send it back, if we cast it early, they are not going to be able to afford to send it back because we can just send it back again. And if we cast it late, then there's no use. It's just going to be 2 mana, opponent discards 2 cards, which obviously works very, very well with the rack. Then obviously we can, from that point on, we can now have access to very real top decks, whereas the previous decks, have access to cards like Bottomless Pit, which after your opponent has no cards, a card like Bottomless Pit is not particularly useful. Now we actually have access to Skeletal Scrying, which can allow us to refuel and then actually pull ahead once we are parity or a little bit ahead. So in the sideboard, we have some extra copy of Skeletal Scrying, Spinning Darkness, Staff Out, which I already talked about. Obviously, we have 4 copies of Engineer Plague, probably the single best black sideboard card in the entire format. We also have an extra copy of Cabal Therapy and some Dystopias. This card is probably going to be really, really important, particularly against the Oath decks. And finally, some copies of Phyrexian Furnace to wrap things out. This deck, with the 4 furnaces, I'm hoping that this can help against all of the replenish and that kind of combo deck. That's at least what I'm aiming at. I don't know how it's gonna play out. I feel like it's a new approach. At least I personally have not seen a deck list in mono black that looked something like this. Obviously, the only similar thing would be Alvaro's Contamination deck, but that's an entirely different animal. I don't think you want Chain of Smog at all in that deck, so I feel like I needed to take an approach similar to this. That's going to be where we're going to be playing in this league. So if you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you for round number 1. Before we begin, I wanted to let you know that I will be taking a hopefully short break from Premodern and content creation, and I'm going to, if you're subscribed to my Patreon and you'd like to cancel your subscription, you can just go ahead and do so. I won't shut it off because I expect to come back at some point, but for now, due to some personal reasons, I will need to step back for a little bit. Hopefully, it will be a short time. This hand looks okay, I guess, so let's keep it. It's interesting whether I want to lead on Mishra's Factory or I want to lead on Basic Swamp. I think I'm going to lead on Factory. Obviously, I'm going to just cast the rack right now, but I think it's interesting because this exposes me to Wasteland, which I don't need to expose myself to. I don't know. This also allows me to attack for 2 if my opponent does nothing on turn 1. This is obviously something that threatens my... Oh, that's a nice pickup. Very nice pickup. So let's begin with the rest. See what my opponent's cooking with over there. Tithe. That is not a card I was expecting to see here. Alrighty. Cool. Soltari Monk. Okay, we're always, of course, going to take the Seal of Cleansing. And that should leave my opponent with a bunch of lands and Soltari Monk, which has protection against my deck, but fortunately for me, Diabolic Edict doesn't care much about that. So there's the Plains on the Monk. So now we can go Furnace into Chain of Smog. Nice Chain of Smog right here. Actually means that my opponent gets to... They just have to discard the lands. And they can throw it back, but if they do, then we basically just completely destroy their hand. But this is quite nice. Do you want a copy? No. Coward. Alright, so now we're going to be able to... my opponent's playing other lands. Interesting. So now we're going to be able to Diabolic Edict and swing with Factory, which is pretty nice. They hold on to the Darker Waste. I guess makes sense. Oh, that's a lot of stuff. Alright, so I'll Edict now, I guess. Wow. Really? Instead of... I'm very surprised by that. I would have expected my opponent to just sacrifice the Mother of Runes. We're definitely going to attack here. This Factory plus the rack can actually allow me to potentially raise my opponent. I'm obviously hoping that they don't draw Mother of stuff. They should. I mean, this has protection from black, so I don't know what this Mother of Runes is doing otherwise. Unless they drew something that they want to protect, but they just drew a land. I guess I might as well activate the Furnace as well, but we're going to just cycle the Phyrexian Furnace. That's a dead card, unfortunately. Now we get to swing for 2, and we are racing. This duress at least means that my creature's not gonna get sworded. My opponent should definitely be attacking with the Mother of Runes, though. Another rack is very nice. So now they have 2 cards. I think I'm just going to duress here because my opponent didn't play anything. Enlightened Tutor. So they did draw something that I could discard. So now they're gonna take 2 Spirit Link. That's a card. Here's... Oh, I guess I messed that up. I should have actually attacked first. Don't think it really matters, but... The thing is, like, now we know that they're drawing Spirit Link. They're gonna suit up the Soltari Monk. It would have been better if my opponent just doesn't cast the Enlightened Tutor. Or they get something more impactful, because, like, a Spirit Link is not gonna be able to raise double rack plus Mishra's Factory. And if I find another Chain of Smog or... what's his name? Yeah, now my opponent... No, still no attacks. Yeah, I'm very surprised by that. Yeah, it's a Funeral Charm. This means that now I'm just going to be able to... If they take 3, I can just make them discard a card. The other card waste they have in hand. So they have to chump block. Obviously, they cannot protect. So now we target player discards a card. And then my opponent's going to die on their upkeep. Shout out to Mishra's Factory. Heck of a card. Ooh, those are some large sizes. Large cards. There we go. Much more reasonable. Okay, so Furnace seems pretty lackluster, so let's get rid of those. I don't think I care for Cabal Therapy. The Plagues actually sound pretty nice. Dystopia is kind of sick, right? Spinning Darkness. Man, my entire sideboard is like insane against my opponent. Did I just cut the chains? I think I just cut the duresses. Like, the duresses can actually fizzle. Oh, we actually get Snuff out? Yeah, my deck is kind of insane. We got Curse Scroll. Let's cut a Chain of Smog. Skeletal Scrying does sound like... I think I do want to have access to a couple of Skeletal Scrying. I don't think I want the 3rd copy, but I definitely want 1 or 2 of them. Diabolic Edict is really mediocre, but at least it gets rid of the protection guy. Hypnotic Spectre is super medium, but it is a win condition and it flies, both of which are good things. I think I'm just gonna cut the chains. I feel like my opponent is gonna get rid of all the cards in their hand as quickly enough, and my other discard spells like Funeral Charm and like Hypnotic Spectre are either recurring or they have other modes. We have to cut one last card. Ravenous Rats? I kind of like Ravenous Rats. We're definitely a little bit heavy on the 3s, but I think that is fine. I'm gonna cut one Skeletal Scrying. Spinning Darkness already is gonna tax my graveyard a fair amount. Basic Swamp. Yeah, I'll keep this. I just need to draw some lands. Alright, do I even want to kill this? Oh, that's a great draw. So let's play the rack. Yeah, I'm just gonna pass the turn. This may make things a little bit more awkward, but I can just Engineered Plague killing something. There's a Soltari Priest, which we can kill. An opponent does not attack. So we're gonna go with, I think I'm gonna go with Rats. And then depending on what my opponent does, like if they play another Shadow Creature, I can just Plague the Shadow Creatures, which should put me in a pretty decent spot. Huh. So I guess we're going to... So now what I'll do is I'll name Human with this. Then this is just a 1/1. And I can simply... I'll be taking 1, of course, but now I'm going to be able to just snuff out the Soltari Priest, no problem. A little bit annoying, like maybe what I should be doing is I should just take the hit and play out the Plague Speeder, because I'm kind of scared of something like an Exalted Angel. Exalted Angel would be a little bit problematic. We can... I'm gonna swing here, and I think I want to Wasteland, and I'm just gonna play out the Plague Spitter. So this is gonna kill the Soltari Priest. I'm gonna take 3, then I'm gonna take 2. It's also gonna kill my my Rats, which sucks, but it's the only way that I can set up Diabolic Edict. Oh, they just plow it. Okay, that's fine. So now I'm just going to, I guess, Ravenous Rats and Edict. I need to be taking care of my life total. That's an insane top deck. All right. So let's swing for 1 first. And do I want to Diabolic Edict or do I want to... Yeah, I think I just want to Diabolic Edict right now. They actually discard the Paladin back, which is, I think, good for me. Because now I can just spin in Darkness, the Soltari Priest. And now we're racing the Monk. I wish I drew a discard spell. Spectre, I guess, is fine. I still need to discard 1 more card so I can enable Spinning Darkness. But my opponent's going to be taking much more damage now. I may even be able to just straight up race thanks to Hypnotic Spectre plus Rats. I may be able to just race my opponent not doing anything. That's a card, I guess. So swing for 3, trigger Spectre, brings my opponent down to 2 cards. If I play out the Plague Speeder, I take 4 this turn, plus 1 from the Plague Spitter itself. Unless they have any sort of boost, I should be fine. And if they counter this Plague Spitter, then I can cast my Spinning Darkness on the pro-red creature. So I think this is better. Like, this actually sets up lethal for next turn. And unless they have a pump effect, we should win the race. There you go. Down to 2. Yeah, we actually got there. That's awesome. The fact that we couldn't spin in Darkness our own thing, it's kind of awkward in this scenario, but yeah, we got there on the very last turn. Awesome. See you for the next round. On to round number 2. This hand seems a little bit too bad. This looks slightly better. Let's keep this. I think I'm gonna bottom Hypnotic Spectre. We are on the play, which oddly enough is not great. I'm leaning on the Curse Scroll because, I don't know, I don't really want to expose the rack quite yet. Let's see what we're up against. Mox Diamond, pitching 3-top, Safekeeper, Wayfarer. It's a big problem. Okay, just gonna play out the rack and we're gonna pass the turn back. That rhymes. That rhymes in a fun and enjoyable way. This is looking not great for us. Opponent's got a Mox going on, they have a Wayfarer going on. Until we find an answer to this Wayfarer, I don't really know what we're gonna be able to do. Oh, they're just gonna go all in on it. I mean, honestly, why wouldn't them, now that I think about it? One thing we can do is just, like, not play lands for a while. Very strong start from my opponent. Very, very strong start. I'm just gonna send it back. Obviously, no reason to expose this Mishra's Factory. But this is the lock, I think. My opponent's gonna be able to draw multiple cards every single turn, and they can simply slowly beat me down, so it's not looking great. I don't think I can realistically win this game. We'll see, maybe my opponent does not have Rishadan Port. Maybe. So now they can fetch, hold priority, activate Wayfarer, all sorts of fun stuff. They do have Port. I'm trying to think how I can get out of this mess. We have to draw another basic Swamp. I mean, the way I get out of this is something like Engineer Plague, but yet it's not. Yeah, it's not happening. Obviously, Gates game 1. Oh, I know what it is. Yeah, we just draw 3 basics in a row, and then we can start to activate Curse Scroll in response to the port. Yeah, so that's another answer. I guess that's not an answer because they have Safekeeper, so never mind. So I just need to draw 3 basics, and then I'm gonna be able to curse scroll in response to my opponent doing stuff. Assuming they just do nothing for the remainder of the game, which should not be the case. They should start to do stuff now. Could Funeral Charm one of the dudes, but I'm gonna just sack a land, and you know, that's that. So, that's good. Okay, cool. All right. I think we actually have I don't want to say a reasonable shot, but maybe we get something. They have Naturalize for the scroll. Ugh. Yeah, that's bad. I needed that. I really needed that to, you know, do the thing. So I guess I'm just gonna cast this now and force my opponent to... I'm targeting the Safekeeper there. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, whatever I target, they're just gonna sack a land. So this is effectively my target opponent sacrifices a land. Meddling Mage. Let's see what they name. They name Phyrexian Arena. Cool. Oh yeah, classic combo. Shadow Port plus Gemstone Mine. Alright, here's a rat. Rat-a-tat. Discarding Swords to Plowshares. Alright, that's not awful. Now they take a point. There's no way I can win this game, right? Why does it feel like there's a chance? There's no way there's a chance I can win this game. Wait, what? That's a weird attack. Wait, why didn't... Oh, I didn't block. I misclicked. Oh, that's so bad. That is so bad. No. Oh man, that's awful. I wanted to kill the Wayfarer so bad. Am I gonna lose because of that misclick? I don't think that was a good attack at all by my opponent. I mean, if they offer the trade for the other Safekeeper, I'll take it. So here's a Ravenous Rats. I'm gonna swing with this rat. I think I'm not at a point where I want to double block the Meddling Mage, and I would get blown out by Swords to Plowshares anyway, so might as well swing. And my opponent did have the Swords to Plowshares, looks like. Yep. They do take 2 then. Yeah, man, I feel like I should have won this game. I should have just traded with the Wayfarer, and I feel like I'm winning. So now they should Wasteland me, and now I just get destroyed. Maybe I can find the Duress here. Factory. It's actually not a good spot for the Chain of Smog, so I'm just going to hang out here. So what this does is it forces my opponent to sack a land if they want to activate Wayfarer, which then opens them up for... So we kill Safekeeper, take 3, down to 2. Oh, they have board. Alright, because my plan was here to do this, and then untap and use Mishra's Factory to trade with the Meddling Mage. But now, obviously, I just died. That game was much closer than it should have been. It all came down to that misclick. If I trade with the Wayfarer, then I think we easily win this game from there. Anyway, bringing some Snuff Outs and Dystopias. Do I want Phyrexian Furnace? Scalded Scrying sounds reasonable. Curse Scroll also sounds reasonable. I feel like this is not a Chain of Smog matchup, nor a Cabal Therapy matchup. I do like the Furnaces, however. I guess I'm gonna cut Splitters in the place of Spinning Darknesses. Cut 1, maybe 2 Chains of Smog. Let's do 3. Scrying. Let's cut 1 Spinning Darkness. Actually, discards. They only kill... Oh no, yeah, I actually like Spinning Darkness. It kills Elephant tokens. I forgot about the Call of the Herds. Cut Diabolic Edict. I feel like this is gonna be a matchup where I really want to have removal. Rats, I guess Spectre is medium. Can cut some Spectres. I need to make sure that I have enough win conditions though. We have 4 racks, 4 factories, which are very unreliable. Curse Scrolls, and a couple of Spectres. So we have 12 win conditions. A little bit iffy on that. I'm kind of into Plague Spitter, to be honest. But I don't think I like Plague Spitter better than all of the alternatives. So I'll just submit. I think I want to be on the play. And this hand would be so amazing if I had access to a swamp. I think I'll just keep it anyway. My opponent can just go turn 1 Wasteland, and we are very sad, but... I'm gonna play with the Furnace, because I may need to cycle it sooner rather than later. This hand is just... It has so much of what I want. But it moves to 5, which is definitely good for me, but... Oh, there we go. Swamp off the top one time? Nope, I forgot to activate this, but whatever. All I need to do is draw a basic swamp. It's not the land my opponent wants to see there. That is the card that they want to see, though. That is definitely the card they want to see. Swamp. That's a card that would be pretty good alongside a swamp. I still think I'm supposed to keep these hands, right? Interesting that they only take 4. I would have just taken everything. It's kind of awesome that we draw a basic swamp and then we're really cooking. Just duress them and then like snuff out whatever they play, even if they had played a Terravore. Although a Terravore is just a 1/1. I guess a 0/0. Terravore is pretty bad here. Her name's Powder Keg. Interesting. Oh, there we go. And this is why I really dislike Gemstone Mine. Let's take the Mox Diamond. Redundant Library doesn't really do anything. And I could kill this, but does it matter? I guess it does. Well, let's just wait, see what my opponent has. Now they draw 2 again. Yeah, I think I have to snuff out. I'm gonna be taking too much damage from this. Like, it's possible my opponent just plays a Call of the Herd now, but that destroys their land, which is good for me. And then I can just exile the second half of Call of the Herd anyway, so it's not really that big of a deal. Okay, second Melee Mage is fine. Name Powder Keg again. Makes sense. I really wish I could draw a land here. I think I'm just dropping the rack this turn, so I can start putting pressure on my opponent's life total. They go to 7. It's very comforting that Terravor doesn't do anything. Pretty happy about that. Call of the Herd, on the other hand. Okay, that one doesn't do anything, as I just said. Nice draw. So now that gets rid of that, and I can play my land, Duress you, take the library, and so I guess what I have to do is opponent takes 2 here. They can play out another Terravor, but then he just dies. So I think we're just gonna pass. The problem is if I play Factory, that exposes the Factory to Wasteland, and then all of a sudden I'm in a spot where the Terravors are 3/3s, and that can actually race me. So this library can't draw any more cards now. Unless they Wasteland themselves, this Terravor is about to die. We don't want to see Call of the Herd. It's the only card that we really don't want to see. So that resolved. That's a really good draw. That effectively means that we win. Exile the Factory. And I could just like play a land and Skeletor's Crying, exiling Factory to force, to have my opponent play around this. But I think that this can bait them to Wasteland themselves, which is what they do. That's so good for me. So now I get to actually play my Mistress Factory, and I still get to kill this Terravor by playing Funeral Charm or just Snuff outing. What do we want to do? We could also just go Curse Scroll, Funeral Charm, make you this card. Yeah, I can just cycle the Furnace, exiling Wasteland. That still kills the Terravor, draws me a card, give me more options. Yeah, now we play the second rack. This means they take 2 on upkeep, and then next, if they play any card at all, I just Funeral Charm them, and that just kills them. And since now they're dead to any card, I'm just gonna snuff out this Melee Mage here. Oh, they don't attack. Oh, because they are respecting the Mistress Factory. That's hilarious. Yeah, alright. Here's a rack, and I would like you to please discard any card. That was cool. Alright. Yeah, we got Wastelanded, but again, like, this deck can play a long game now. Diabolic Edict is somewhat appealing. Man, I really liked Phyrexian Furnace. The fact that we can play it out, it has so many small synergies with the deck. Like, if we play out Phyrexian Furnace, then if our opponent just sends back the Chain of Smog, that's even less cards in our hand. Then there's also the fact that it becomes a draw later in the game. It fuels Skeletor's Crying. So many little synergies with Phyrexian Furnace, which is very, very cool. What do we have here? Very nice hand. Yeah, I like this hand. I like that it has a basic. Battlefield Forge? Alright. It's like, ooh, I'm Karplusan Forest. I think with my opponent doing nothing, I just Wasteland here. We already have an answer to a Terravor anyway in this Mother, so I'm not too concerned about that. But the reason to do that is I don't really want to expose anything to a disenchant. Skeletor's Crying. Does that change things? It kind of does, because now I do want stuff to go to my graveyard, so I'm just gonna play this Curse Scroll. I value this Furnace higher than this Curse Scroll, so if this gets disenchanted, I don't really care, because we're gonna be refueling our hand and drawing a bunch of cards anyway. Let's see what my opponent does here. This Call of the Herd? It is Call of the Herd. Okay, so this means I guess I have to spend this turn to trade with that, which is very annoying. Nice draw. Very nice draw. So this forces my opponent to discard a card. To sacrifice a land, I mean. They can protect it, but then they sack a land, puts them behind, and then I can smother. Once again, they can do it if they want, but it's not really great for them. So we're going to be taking 4 this turn. Next turn, we're going to attempt to smother the elephant and play out the Factory. So it's just going to be a matter of whether we have enough life to work with this. If we have enough life to do all the stuff that we want to do. So here comes 4. Ah, they have a land. Furnace. I think this turn I play a rat. Have my opponent discard, because this stops the Safekeeper from attacking. Discards a land. And now we play Furnace. Exile their hand. Again, like Furnace helping us get Curse Scroll online faster, which is very nice. They plow the rat. Seems acceptable. You gotta do what you gotta do. Okay, so now do we just main phase Smother? Let's start by exiling their card in graveyard. I think this is the turn I play out the... No, I'm just gonna Smother the elephant right now. Opponent's probably gonna sacrifice the waste. Do you have Maya Coast? Yeah, they do. Which makes sense. Play out the Factory. say go. So now they can wasteland the factory. We're probably going to... I guess we're going to draw a card in response. I can take the damage. No, I'm just going to cycle. I'm going to force them to sacrifice a land. And I'm going to cycle Phyrexian Furnace. They should wait until this gets activated, so now it's summoning sick. Oh, they have Plow. Well, that's a lot worse for me. Okay, at least I gain 2 life. Takes a turn off the clock. That's very, very nice. Is their last card disenchant? Even if it is, I guess that we still get 1 card out of the deal. And then at that point, we're drawing on their upkeep. So they do sacrifice Safekeeper. Take 3. Man, what a close game. Now we exile the coast. Draw a card. Another land. Definitely going to pay for this upkeep. The only time that we're going to pay for this upkeep. Very interesting draw. Can we draw Spinning Darkness now? Pass the turn. Dystopia and Rack triggers. Send the turn back. Just gonna Curse Scroll, naming, Skeletal Scrying obviously. Opponent takes 2. And tap. We're going to not pay life. Rats. Nice draw. Discard a card. Now our clock is online. Oh, they top deck Ray of Revelation. That's brutal for them. So this is super interesting because any 1 or 2 drop that they have. So the only card that matters right now is specifically Call of the Herd. Nothing else matter because everything else that they can play just dies to the Curse Scroll, which is awesome. Spinning Darkness is a nice pickup. Slightly awkward because now it's 50-50 to hit something. Like, it makes my Curse Scroll a little bit worse. But what I can do is I can cast Scrying for 1, hold priority, and activate Curse Scroll with the Scrying on the stack. Scrying for X equals 1, exiling my Wasteland. And with that on the stack, we're going to activate Curse Scroll, naming Spinning Darkness. Now we draw a card. It's a Wasteland. Nice pickup. Gonna Wasteland you. I guess I'm not terrified of Call of the Herd, but this means that obviously Disenchant doesn't do anything now, which is cool. And now it's the classic 50-50 Curse Scroll. Ah, we whiffed. So sad. Oh, that's a dead card. So now we're gonna do a bunch of 50-50 Curse Scroll spins. This is hilarious. Give me anything that I can target with Spinning Darkness so that I can draw some cards, please. That's so funny. I mean, opponent's just passing the turn. Eventually we will get there. And also we can just draw... Oh, there we go. Spinning Darkness was revealed. Funeral Charm. Okay, that doesn't matter as of right now. We can make them discard on end step. They can think that they have 1 more card than they actually do. Just gonna do the exact same thing. Make them discard. Mox Diamond was discarded. And once again. Hey, we hit again. Cool. So I don't think I'm playing around Armageddon. Maybe I should be. I think I'm winning with this Curse Scroll. Yes, thank you. Anything that I can kill. Thank you for that. Thank you so much. But I think what this means is that my opponent has access to Call of the Herd. But I'm going to go for the win here. Scrying for 3. Exile land. Furnace. Draw 3. Nice draw. Got a rat. Discards Wasteland. And once again, I mean, this is lethal in a couple of turns. My opponent will either need to Swords to Plowshares this, or just let this be, and then this takes off 1 whole turn off the clock from the Curse Scroll. At this point, if they have enough mana to Armageddon, then that means they die to my racks. So unless they have Lightning Bolt in their deck, which is not outside, I mean, it's not the craziest thing. They could definitely have Lightning Bolt in their deck. But if they don't have Lightning Bolt, then I think I am winning this one. Man, this 50-50 Curse Scrolls are so exciting. We whiffed. We whiffed. Swing for 1. Down to 4. Obviously, we're going to Wasteland. And more 50-50 Curse Scroll action coming up. This is nice. I'm enjoying. This is high quality gameplay. Okay, so that's... My opponent's dead now. That's a target for Smother, which means now this Curse Scroll is guaranteed to win on my upkeep. That was very cool. That was very cool. I enjoyed that very much. See you for the next round. On to round number 3. And it's a little bit rack-dundant, but rack-dundant. Get it? Get it? Yeah, this probably is gonna be a keep. We got removal. Plenty of removal. Hypnotic Spectre. Good stuff all around. On a multi-sick basic swamp. Sarcomancy. Buckle up, folks. This one's gonna be erased. Chain of Smog is not bad. Chain of Smog is not bad at all. Opponent's duressing here. I do wonder if they just take the chain, actually. They may need to take the redundant rack. Yeah, just because it would just kill them very quickly. That's hilarious. All right. I mean, I'm gonna Chain of Smog here. If my opponent wants to send it back, I think I'm totally fine because I'm winning this exchange. My opponent can't attack and they're taking 3 a turn. Seems like a pretty good spot for me. So they can't actually send it back. If we both end up with no hands, I feel like I'm ahead. And my opponent knows this. Winter Orb and Hypnotic Spectre. Alright, so my opponent's playing a different deck then. They're not just playing zombies. I like that. We're brewing black decks. City of Brass. Oh, is this the broccoli soup deck? It may be the broccoli soup deck. Let's play my Hypnotic Spectre. Send it back. TikTok now. Gotta find a removal spell for this one. Lightning Bolt. Alright, they have it. This does mean that they take more damage though. And they already took a damage from the City of Brass. If I kill this zombie, they're also going to be taking damage from their own Sarcomancy. Yeah, I feel like I'm in very good shape here. Was this a Negator deck? This may be the Negator deck. Yeah, the Negator deck. I love this deck. Well, let's play a Plague Spitter. See how my opponent starts sacrificing their stuff. They can't attack with the zombie token, because if they do that, then I'll block here. Now, they know about this Diabolic Edict, though, and they still need to sacrifice something. Oh, the Sarcomancy. Oh, duh. Obviously, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, but now we just Edict them, and I play out another Factory. So Edict you, this always gets messed up, so I'm just gonna do this first. Then play Factory and Pump, and swing for 3. Take 3 more on upkeep with the rack. And now we have 3 Factories attacking next turn. I don't think there's anything that can save my opponent here. Nantuko Shade's definitely not gonna do it. Tell you that much. So do we just swing with 2 Factories? I mean, this just doesn't matter, right? This is the fanciest way to go about this, because he also kills the Shade. Yeah, this just doesn't matter at all. I'm just not gonna show them Funeral Charm. Alright, Negator deck. What matters against the Negator deck? Dystopia may matter. Oh, Spinning Darkness is gonna be... Oh, this is non-black. Oh, man. That sucks. I really wanted to be able to spin in darkness them. Not gonna work out though. That's fine, that's fine. I think I still want them. Actually, I only saw black creatures. Maybe they're not playing. There's no way they're not playing Call of the Herd, right? They have to be playing Call of the Herd. Yeah, I'm going to assume that they're playing Call of the Herd. I'm gonna cut Cabal Therapy. Actually, maybe I like Therapy better than the rest, actually. So cut those. Do we want Skeletal Scrying? Man, we have not seen enough of my opponent's deck. Like, they could be playing the Call of the Herd version of the deck, or they could be playing something entirely different. We saw Winter Orb, we saw Negator and Sarcomancy, and we saw, like, Lightning Bolt. So, my opponent's definitely cooking over there. Definitely cooking. Skeletal Shrine seems actually pretty reasonable against them. I'm not super high on Furnace, though. So let's cut 1 Furnace. We still don't know. Again, if they have Call of the Herd, I'm gonna definitely want to have access to more Furnaces, but we just don't have enough information about my opponent's deck currently to know what's good and what isn't. This hand looks very reasonable, however. Definitely gonna keep this. Man, Nantuko Shade in the City of Brass Gemstone Mine deck. A little bit rough. I feel like there has to be something better. I don't know if that one is where you want to be. Opponent on a Multus Sick once again with the turn 1 Sarcomancy. We're gonna answer back with the turn 1 Curse Scroll. Take 2 from the zombie, Gemstone Mine, and nothing. Just send the turn back. I mean, one thing we could do here is just double Funeral Charm, but I do want for my opponent to, I don't know, maybe they have Naturalize for this, and they, like, use it here, and then we can do that. Enlightened Tutor. Interesting. Let's see what's my opponent's trump. Seal of Cleansing. I'm totally okay with this. But if they play a Negator here, I may need to just smother plus Diabolic Edict. Not a good Enlightened Tutor. Perfect. So now, with that trigger on the stack, discard the card, and please, discard the card. Thank you. Ah, their last card is Lightning Bolt. Slightly annoying, but we will survive. They get to reset the Gemstone Mine, which is very cute. Swamp is nice. Alright, let's Diabolic Edict here. And I'm doing this so they start taking damage from their Sarcomancy. Like, I'm gonna be doing this regardless. Now, next turn, I can go Scrying for 2, start to do the thing. They just main phase, cash that in. Spectre. We're probably gonna have to kill that one. Alright. Wasteland your Catacomb and smother your dude. They could top deck Duress, and then we are gonna be in a even-ish spot. Winter Orb. Little bit annoying, but feels like we're fine. Ooh, yeah. Alright. I'm tapping out. We're about to spit the plague. Plague is being spat. Nice draw. Very nice draw. Man, is this deck just sick? I think this deck may just be sick. Worst case scenario, it's a heck of a lot of fun, I'll tell you that much. Man, we're drawing like $1,000,000. That's gonna be really hard for my opponent to raise this. I do like that if they play Negator, you just have to sacrifice their entire board. It's very satisfying. There it is. That's very funny. They do get to sack this Sarcomancy, which obviously is good for when we top deck Smother. Yeah, man, like this. But I'm just gonna attack because it's just more fun. I'm enjoying this very much. Sack 2 things. They should sack Negator. No, they didn't. So now they have to sack to the ping. And after they sacrifice everything, I Smother. Flawless victory. Oh, this is awesome. Oh my god, this is delightful. My opponent says, ouch. I'm like, nice. I agree. Oh my god. This is too much fun. This is too much fun. See you for the next round. On to round 4 against Lanny. Guess I'm gonna keep this. I have no idea what Lanny could be doing over there. Oh, it's burn? Oh, we can't win. Ugh, that sucks. But yeah, this, as I said in the beginning, like this matchup is just not worth trying to fight over. Second pop, yeah, this is just too much. Too much too quickly. So I guess best case scenario is he goes for like Ball Lightning, and we can Smother it, and then we untap, I don't know, Hypnotic Spectre. I don't even know. Just gonna Smother the pop here. I could try to block with Factory, but who are we kidding? That's not happening. Man, would love to have seen a Duress at any point. Duress would actually be a reasonable draw. Or I guess I'll just draw another land. That's fine. I'm gonna step out for Hypnotic Spectre. Again, my goal, like this is gonna die, obviously. But my goal here is that we get to next turn, like Edict plus Factory. But here, obviously, he's just getting so, like this Jackal Pop just dealt 6 already, right? We're just so far behind. Funeral Charm. All right. We can hope to threaten to block. It's most likely not going to work out, but so I'm going to have him attack, Edict, and Factory. So at least the good thing is here, this has to eat something bigger. So now we block, and we're not going to pump. Actually, I am going to pump. I'm only going to pump here because this forces him to use a card, and then that means I get to save the Funeral Charm. But I think that I'm just here. Like Incinerate, and then just like Mog Fanatic Ping. Yep. Okay. All right. Next game. So Cabal Therapy is fine. Spinning Darkness. Don't think we're gonna be able to afford to Skeletal Scrying. All my cards are so bad. All of my cards suck. I guess I'm gonna cut a Wasteland. I do feel like Furnaces are probably necessary. We can cut Plague Spitter. Or Hypnotic Spectre. Let's cut Spectre. Let's do 1 and 1, I guess. So I guess our best draw is going to be Ravenous Rats. Hey, look at that. So let's keep this. Actually, pretty nice hand, all things considered. Let's go turn 1 Factory into the rack. And we're gonna Rats on 2. Pop. Yeah, I'm gonna Rats. So this forces him to like either trade, which is great for me, or to use removal spell on Rats, which is also kind of fine for me. And then we can use, oh, Fanatic. Yeah, this is fine. Then we can go Wasteland plus Charm next turn to make sure this doesn't connect twice. So we're basically, ooh, nice draw. Yeah, that's so much better. So send the turn back, and he doesn't spend the mana, which is kind of a big deal. Ooh, he's got his own factories? All right, I'm just gonna Wasteland it, but let's try some new tech. Maybe he'll pump my factory. Interesting. So now he can't attack. We take 2. Oh, I forgot to kill this thing. We're gonna Wasteland. And then, wish I had killed this thing. I'm gonna play out a Scroll, second rack. And I'm just gonna use my mana to Funeral Charm the Jackal Pup. Pup attempts to get in there and dies. A little bit awkward this. I feel like we have to do it. Have to spend a turn to just deploy the cards in our hand. We're at a virtual 12. We're weak to Ball Lightning this turn. But unfortunately, I need to spend a turn trying to deploy my hand and see what's up. Because his plan is to just use his cards to deal with my things. And just have this Sulfuric Vortex slowly but surely kill me. My best draw is Chain of Smog. Duress would also be nice. Let's exile anything just to draw the card. Hey, look at that. That's just the card I was talking about. Chain of Smog U. Scroll and Mountain. I think here I'm just going to attack with the Factory. This forces my opponent to use the Seal of Fire, which means he isn't using his mana, which is good for me. Now he takes 2, plus the 2 from the Vortex. And we are trying to turn this race around. If I find another Chain of Smog, I think we may be able to win. It's not quite it, though. Maybe I should have just dealt 2 with the Curse Scroll. But I'm actually trying to bait him into using the cards in hand. Smart enough to not do. Okay, now he has enough. I guess he's got a Fire Blast. Yep. Yeah, if I had maybe like 1 or 2 more discard spells, maybe we could have gotten there. But again, I don't think this matchup is helpable. Helpable? Is that a word? I don't know. But yeah, I chose to ignore it and I lost to it. Anyway, see you for the next round. On to round number 5. This hand looks very good. Turn 1 Duress, we got a Factory, a Wasteland, we're good against Go Tall, we're good against Go Wide. Pretty insane. I'm not playing against Burn again. I'm playing against Burn again. Well, never mind. Scratch that. Also on the draw, I'm gonna start off with Duress. Bolt my face, you got it. Fire Blast, Vortex. I think we just take the Vortex, right? I'm not gonna be able to do the thing before the Vortex comes down. This my opponent's hand is super clunky, so we have that going on for us. So I guess I spend this turn to Edict. And unfortunately I have to do this now before my opponent gets to activate the Grim Lavamancer at all, which does expose me to some nasty stuff like Bolt Lightning, but it is what it is. I do need to start racing here. Okay. So, Duress you. So now if my opponent wants to Fire Blast, they have to sack 2 lands. Now, I don't think they can afford to do this. So that Duress really comes at a price of progress? Alright, I guess I'll have to Wasteland and just only take 2. You got me. Does this Duress resolve? No, alright. Well, I mean, this is very good for me. That was a very awkward spot for them to Fire Blast. So now I can just drop a rack, and then we start racing them? I think we may actually be able to win this game on the draw. Play a Rat. They discard 11 Mancer, they take 3. Now next turn we get 2. Alright, yeah, I think we're winning this. I'm very excited about this. We're also gonna get to Chain of Smog for the full amount. Must be nice to have all the cards line up perfectly. Yeah. Okay, Spinning Darkness. Yes, please. Cabal Therapy. I guess so. Not super excited about that, but I guess we do that. Cut the Plague Spitters. Maybe another Furnace and cut the 2 Skeletal Scrines. Let's try this. It's similar to what we did against Lanny with just going all in on Specters as opposed to Spitters. But yeah, kind of saved by the fact that my opponent felt forced into that casting of the Fire Blast in there. The fact that we did have the rack really put us in a much better spot. I mean, I think I'm going to keep this hand. I don't know how good it's actually going to be because we don't really have anything that can... I just need to put creatures in my graveyard. Cards in my graveyard, I mean, as quickly as I can. So let's Duress here. I think I'm taking the Fire Blast, but the price of progress is literally not doing anything. So I think I'm just going to take out the Fire Blast. My opponent's draw is very bad, but they're just going to beat me down for a while with this Mog Fanatics and this silly Lavamancer. Man, more lands. Not super stoked about that. I'm not going to cycle now, but it's really awkward because if my opponent has a fetch land, then they're going to be able to activate Lavamancer before I have a chance to respond. Okay, I'm gonna take 2. Interesting. They don't attack with Lavamancer, so we're just gonna do this first. Now I Wasteland. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pass because my opponent can just fizzle my... They can just sack a Mog Fanatic and fizzle my redraw. I guess I'm gonna do this now, and if they want to do that, they are forced to do it here. Chain of Smog. Okay. So Spinning Darkness was revealed there. Not the one we wish we had revealed. But it's fine. So this Spinning Darkness is effectively, I imagine it's going to be a 2-for-1. So my opponent's going to sack a Fanatic to kill their own Lavaman. They don't attack with Grim Lavamancer. Now my opponent already missed 2 points of damage. So Chain of Smog you. I guess this is what they were hoping for. That I just discard them and they get a Lavamancer activation this way. Price of progress and land. They send it back? This is so good for me. Okay, discard 2. And yes, I definitely want to copy it. So now we have 3 lands, which means we can cast any card in our deck. You're just going to blow up both of the lands? What's going on here? This is very aggressive. Okay, so now we're going to discard Spinning Darkness and 1 more card. and we do not copy it. And we're going to spin in darkness the lava man. We go up to 15. And now it's 2 Mog Fanatics against whatever the top of my deck wants to deliver. Opponent has no lands. These games have been really awkward. My opponent has been doing some stuff that I'm very surprised by. Not a great draw. I mean, these Mog Fanatics are swinging for 2 every turn. I'm at a virtual 7. Rats is good. Rats is very good. Deals with a card in hand and also deals with a Mog Fanatic. One of these cards, another Fire Blast. So now we're hoping for like any creature. Mishra's Factory would also be pretty good. Taking the block there, obviously. Factory is the perfect draw. So now I get rid of all of the cards in my opponent's hand, and now they can't attack anymore. Now we just have to find a way to end this game. The Rack is probably my best draw. Asking you shall receive, I guess. What matters more, my life total or my opponent's? I think it's my opponent's? No. So they're gonna take 2 this turn. I'm at 7. This is rough. Yeah, I think I'll just have to pass the turn. The problem is this Rack doesn't really clock them if they're not hitting land drops, and if they're hitting land drops, then that's bad for me. So now I think that changes the math. So if I find any discard spell, I think I can get there. But we really need to do it quickly. I guess once again my best draw is Ravenous Rats. Sure. So they take 2, we take, yeah, I think we just pass here. Just make them discard. Yeah, I don't think I can keep on just attacking. I think maybe even attacking last turn may have been a mistake. Flame Rift. It's not the one you see every day. Wasteland. Gonna hold on to that because it may be good if I draw Curse Scroll. But now the Racks don't deal any damage, which is the problem, right? Which is why I was interested in attacking. It's because as the game goes longer, it's not necessarily guaranteed to be better for me. Definitely cycling here though. Target anything, Funeral Charm. So now we get to kill this at the cost of taking a point of damage. But now these Racks are not really doing anything. And if my opponent ever hits a land drop, yeah, now we're in a lot of trouble. So attempt to kill that, we go to 6. We really need to find more discard spells now. Very surprised that they still have Cabal Therapy. Oh, why did it have to be Cabal Therapy? Why did it have to be therapy? Oh man. Do I just name... I think it's just Lightning Bolt. Because it needs to be a card that they couldn't have cast up until this point. And it's the best card for them to have. And also it is... Yeah, I think it has to be Lightning Bolt. They also haven't cast any Lightning Bolts so far. Hey! Ding ding ding. So now I can swing and flashback, which means my opponent takes 4, then 2 because of the 2 Racks. The problem is if I don't do this now, I don't lose to Flame Rift, but then I'm not going to be able to connect because the Lavamancer is going to kill my factory. So I think I'm better off getting this while the getting's good. And if I draw any discard spell, then we get to win. And we're obviously going to name Flame Rift. Last card is Sulfuric Vortex. The problem is there's a bunch of cards that we lose to because this Lava Man just is active. Smaller is reasonable, I guess. It's better than nothing, let's put it like that. So now opponent goes down to 1 and fetch lands are dead. Any spell that doesn't kill me, ooh, that's lethal too. Any discard spell is lethal here, right? Wow, we got there. That's awesome. Woo! That was something. By the skin of our teeth. On to the very last round. I think I like this hand. It's got a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, I think I'm gonna lead on Furnace, which sets me up to next turn either Smother something or Rack plus Scroll. Solitary Monk. Man, what's going on with all these pro-black creatures? Let's play a Factory, and I guess we're just gonna play our 1-drops. Not much else that we can do. Morph. Well, that's getting smothered. That's getting smothered so fast. I was gonna chain off Smog, but obviously priorities have changed. Ah, it was a Whip Quarter. Oh my god, I was baited. I guess I kind of want to draw land. The problem is, if I don't draw land, then I'm further away from activating Curse Crawl, but I do feel like it's kind of important for me to do that. So I'm gonna draw from the Furnace. I'm not super worried about this Solitary Monk. I don't think it's gonna be able to raise me. Unless they do play something like Holy Strength or something, and then I can't scroll it anymore. Silver Knight. Okay, well, definitely doing this now. Perfect. Interesting draw. So I can Duress, or I can Chain of Smog. Alternatively, I can Hypnotic Spectre. I think I want a Chain of Smog though. It's likely my opponent has another card. Then they're gonna send it back. I'm gonna obviously discard both discard spells. But then we can finally start to get rid of stuff. Wow. Yeah, good thing I didn't allow them to cast that Divine Sacrament, because that would have been a problem. Any order? We're now gonna send it back. So now it's nice because we have the factory, which is not summoning sick. So my opponent can't actually attack with both. They top deck Swords to Plowshares, I guess. Block Whipcorder, bounce itself, pump itself, I mean. What is this? Mystic Penitent. Send more cards in your graveyard. It gets +1/+1 and flying. Well, this is looking pretty good. So now the plan is we hold the factory back so my opponent doesn't attack with the Silver Knight. And then we're going to Funeral Charm the Penitent. And now we Curse Scroll the Solitary Monk. And now we're good to go. Second white Weenie deck that we faced today. Which is funny because it's not one you see every day. Now we play out the Spectre, and now we should be winning very easily from here. This means my opponent's hand is never safe. They can't attack because I have a factory. I just scroll everything they do. Obviously, we're going to hold that one for Curse Scroll purposes. And the Rack plus Hypnotic Spectre should be able to close the door rather quickly. Swing plus Tithe. I guess that'll force me to send the Curse Scroll that way. And it's gone. They did get to draw 2 planes. Too bad that I'm gonna get rid of them. So take 2, and I'm just gonna untap. I don't know, maybe they'll do something weird. They did not, they conceded, which is what we expected. Great, so now, Snuff Out Spinning Darkness, big fan of these. Engineer Plague, also fan of that one. I guess we don't want chains. Plague Speeder sounds decent. Kind of terrified of Divine Sacrament. Oh, Dystopia, right. All right, we have a card that just wins. Forgot about that for a second. Let's cut the Therapy, and I guess I'm cutting Duresses. Feel like it's gonna be more important for me to play to the board. Once again, I'm gonna cut some Specters so that so my stuff plays to the board as opposed to. I also have like infinite 3-drops, right? So this seems okay. Kind of want another Spectre, maybe over 1 Skeletal Scrying. Maybe I want more Scryings on the play. Am I keeping this hand? My opponent showed me mono basics, so I don't think I want to like Wasteland Dust much. Maybe actually I should have cut a Wasteland. That's what I should have done. I'm gonna keep this, but I'm not stoked about it. At least we have an answer to a turn 1 Mom. That's not a great draw. Now we're gonna fall behind very quickly. Okay, opponent missing land drop at least gives me a chance. This guy's never gonna see Threshold. Maybe I should have even just cracked the Furnace there. They have Shroud. Well, that's messed up. Maybe I'll just draw another basic swap. Oh, man, I really don't want to exile my own Funeral Charm. On the plus side, if I find the Plague Engineer Plague, it's going to be very good. Because my opponent's got a lot of humans over there. Alright, okay. This is just not funny anymore. Deck, come on. Just feels like my deck's messing with me. I feel like I'm far behind enough that I have to just like send this into a Swords to Plowshares, Disenchant, whatever. Just so my opponent, yeah, okay, whatever. Abolish. Just so my opponent doesn't keep spending their mana to further develop their board. I mean, oh my god, the True Believer blanks my Ravenous Rats? That's so brutal. Yeah, okay, I've seen enough. Wow, we flooded really badly there. I think I'm gonna cut a couple of lands, cut some Wastelands, and bring in Hippies, Furnace. Like, Wasteland really seems like it just doesn't answer anything. Like, it just seems like their mana base is like 20 basics or whatever. Maybe 19 or 18 because they have Tithe. And I say this, and I'm probably never gonna be hitting land drops now, but they seem to be really going in on the Threshold, which really surprises me because their deck does not seem good at achieving Threshold. And this hand looks pretty good. We have lands, we have spells. Our spells do things. Opponent mulligans to 6. Perfect. We have lands now. This allows them to Tithe on turn 1, which sucks for me, but we have a lot of stuff to do, so I'm not super concerned. I think I'm gonna lead on Plague Spitter. I think it sets things up better for me in future turn. Never mind, that's the one card I can't actually answer. So I guess that here goes Spectre. Pro Black and Pro Red. Well, this is not fun anymore. My opponent's going super deep on the Threshold theme. It doesn't seem like their deck is good at achieving Threshold though. They didn't main phase Crack. Interesting. Double Connect. Get rid of some cards. Disenchant and Plains were discarded. Okay. Activate that first. You discard a card. And I guess I'm gonna play out the rack and force them to crack the Seal of Cleansing. Oh, it looks like they were auto-yielded. Yeah, that's rough for them. Let's pass the turn. I could have just cracked my Furnace there, but I think I want to connect. Exile. We're gonna cantrip here. Nice. Very nice. Okay, so that means we win. Very hateful deck my opponent had over there, but Armageddon? Really? This seems very acceptable to me. Alright, I guess we win. Yes, I will pay the cumulative upkeep cost. Another snuff out. Alright, pass the turn. What you got? I have to say, I am very impressed. I am very satisfied with how this league went. So, thumbs up from me. Well, to say that that went, let's say, above expectations would be an understatement. But, I mean, it really goes to show how you can, you know, if you grab a card and you take a peek at what people have done in the past, but you are not afraid of just killing some sacred cows, in this case, Dark Ritual and Bottomless Pit, and just replace those with good cards, which people are not playing enough of, like Skeletal Scrying, then you may end up with a deck that is maybe more real than it looks at first sight. I did like a lot of things about this deck. I very much enjoyed how not at all inny, quote unquote, it felt. It's very cool that you don't have to go mulligan for a hand that has Dark Ritual, and then like you Dark Ritual your thing out, and then your thing gets Swords to Plowshares, and then you're just like so dramatically far behind. I hate that. This is basically the same thing that I did with the Dead Gael whenever I started messing around with the black-white control. I did exactly the same thing that I did here. I just grabbed the good parts of the shell and gave them like a different purpose or like a different order, however you want to say it. Yeah, but by getting rid of Dark Ritual, all of a sudden, like, now I'm hitting land drops, right? Instead of having Dark Rituals that go away. Those land drops allow me to activate Curse Scroll. They allow me to play and cycle Phyrex Infernus. They allow me to, you know, play a big Skeletal Scrying. When you're only playing like 21, 22 lands and Dark Rituals, or if you're playing like 24 lands and then 4 Dark Rituals on top of it, then you're going to flood way too often. So by kind of splitting the difference and just making sure that I'm making decisions that are quote-unquote responsible, like Ravenous Rats instead of Bottomless Pit. Obviously, they're not the same card, but Ravenous Rats did so much work in this deck. I was so impressed by this card. I feel like if we could play 6 copies, I feel like I may be playing up to 6 or maybe 7 copies of the card if I could. It really goes to show how reimagining a deck and not being stuck in what is already done can allow you to make it through and to actually discover brand new take on something that existed before. And I actually wrote an article for Will's website, which should be going up soon enough, where I discuss this. I discuss the idea of brewing in Premodern by not being afraid to kill sacred cows, because you are doing so in the name of a clear game plan and, you know, just having cards that do what you want them to do whenever you want them to do, if that makes sense. Obviously, you know, this is just like any mid-range deck, a deck that needs to get a little bit lucky, which is, you know, usually mid-range deck, we think of mid-range as precisely a deck that doesn't need to get lucky because, well, all their cards are good cards, quote unquote. That's just not how it works, really, in Premodern. You still need to get lucky. You need to find your Chain of Smog whenever, and your discard spell whenever they're good. Like, if you top deck these discard spells in the mid to late game, they're just going to be dead cards, right? So at that point, you need to find the rack. You also need to find the rack in a timely manner. If you take too long to find the rack, then you may just, you know, die before it gets to do anything. So you do need to draw your cards in the correct order for this deck to function. This is much easier to achieve when you have cards that cycle or that, you know, actually give you card advantage. The only thing I will be wary about this deck, which I wasn't super stoked about, is the lack of life gain versus the amount of cards that require you to pay life. So cards like Skeletal Scrying, which are fantastic, absolutely fantastic card, but a deck like Black-White Control, for example, it actually has access to Exalted Angel as a way to recoup that life paid to Skeletal Scrying. This deck does not. There's actually no reasonable life gain cards in mono black, so you kind of have to, you know, accept your losses and hope that you are drawing Skeletor Scrying when you can afford to cycle it. And if you can't, then well, that's it. What are you gonna do? Absolutely awesome stuff. Had a lot of fun playing this deck, and I hope you did as well. With that said, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and take care, folks. Long live Premodern. Best format ever. Bye bye.